Hello everybody, welcome to a new tutorial about Blender for Complete Beginners tutorial series. So this is part 3 of the tutorial series, and I have a few things to note. First things is that if you are a complete beginner and stumbled upon this video, then it's better to start with part 1, which you can find in this channel, the same channel by Game Dev. And the second thing to note is that there's some changes that have been made throughout part 2 since we create this head, so we won't create the head again. In part 3, we will create the body. And the last thing to note is that creating a 3D model is all about creativity and design. So, if your model doesn't look like me, maybe add a bit of style, making it more stylized or to your fit. It should make your model more like a personal workflow, more like a personal work. So now let's get started to create the body. First, on the last video, I'm not sure if I have applied the modifier yet, but I will assume that I only apply the Subdivision Surface modifier for this head. But for some computers, when you move this around, it can be super laggy. Let's Command Z to undo. The reason why is because we haven't applied the Boolean modifier yet. And as I talk further in the previous video, Boolean modifiers basically help us create these curved-like holes to our head. So there's a few things I want to talk about here. First is that the reason why it's super laggy is because Blender recalculates all the vertices every frame. So of course, for not so strong computers that were specific for modeling, it should be laggy. And if it's become lagging or slow, you shouldn't be worried because most computers resulted in that too. So to solve this, we will apply the Boolean. This is also a great time to learn what, and how to apply things. So, like I said, we can apply a modifier to reduce its lagness because Blender doesn't have to calculate each frame by each frame when it got moved. So we can apply it here. And there we go. Now you don't need this anymore. You can even delete it. So let's just delete it. And we result in this head, which now if we move, it should be a lot more smoother. Because then when you go to edit mode, this has already becoming a shape, carved inside, an official shape that has been modeled into the head of Hornet. Now let's go to front. Now let's go to the front. Now if you find your model the opposite direction of mine, like for example your one is in the Y, you can press R and then 180 degrees in the Z, like that. It should flip to the opposite side. Command Z. Now let's go. Let's create the body of Hornet. Now Hornet kind of have a quite proportional body, and we can easily do that to calculate with the body calculations. So now there's an easy way to measure the body height is to use the same head and just shift it up. That way we can know the certain height. Let's just delete this. Also, take the chance, let's rename this to head so we have a better organization. And now we have determined Hornet's body length. It's about here. To create the body length though, we will go through a few steps. first step is we're going to create vertices, extrude out. The second step, we will create modifiers for it, and then adding a skin modifier and a mirror modifier so that it will add thickness and can replicate in symmetry. So to do this, first let's create the vertices first for our body. Shift A, create a cube. Now you can see to create a vertices here because there's no single vertex in this mesh. I'm not sure if you can sort of here, like is it a single vertex? No, there isn't. So there will be plane here. You can select plane and go into select it and go into edit mode. And then X to delete the remaining vertices. You're going to select these by holding Shift and X and delete the vertices. This should remain with one vertices. And we can change up here the position of it over here. You can turn up the window by pressing this or pressing N. And go over to the item, and then you can select the vertices you want and change their position. And now we have kind of like vertices over here. It's kind of hard to see when there's an origin here too. Now we will extrude it. So to extrude it, we can move this up here first to the top, and then add a mirror modifier here by going to the wrench icon and then add a modifier. Let's call this the mirror modifier. And now it should be mirroring the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis. Let me just show you to demonstrate it. So let's select all by pressing A, E to extrude, and press Z to extrude downward. Like about here, you can change it later so you don't need to worry about it. Now we can move the leg out like so and move this down. Now this looks pretty rough, and this looks like a stick figure, not a real Hornet body. But as you select it, you can notice that these vertices, you can't select these vertices over here because they are not officially vertices, and these edges were only created by the mirror who mirrored this part over here. It will symmetrize it and mirrors the part over here, like that. So now, to add some thickness, let's just get out. Yeah, we just keep getting edit mode. Let's add a skin modifier. A skin modifier here. You can sometimes you want to put the mirror up first, or the mirror after the skin modifier is done, and this can change several things. For example, you can see the shape is changing here and giving me a triangle. So you can drag this, what is it, icon, just dragging it down here, and it should fix that. Because sometimes the orders of you doing the modifiers is also really important in some circumstances. And now let's go to press E to select our vertices, Control A, and we will kind of change the thickness here. And that's quite cool. We can do like so, and we can do the taper, the same thing that we do for the taper of the head here. So instead of selecting the whole, let's just the whole body, let's just select with single vertices, and now you can press Control A, and it's kind of tapers like so. Now if you're wondering why it replicated over here or why yours isn't working like mine, make sure you have the mirror modifier, and also having it active. If this icon over here is not blue, that means it is inactive. Yeah, it is active in the render, but you cannot see it in the viewport because this is called real time. Display modifier in viewport. So when you turn this off, I think you can probably see it in render. I never tried it before, but you can't see it in the viewport mode where you edit things around. You can turn this back on if you accidentally turn it off. Or if you turn this off, this can also remove it because we're in edit mode. Yeah. And then now we can change it easily. We can change it now. For this example, it's mirroring everything, as Command C, but I can't see clearly the vertices because they're hidden behind the meshes, the thickness that we added by the skin modifier. So let's go over here and turn on this toggle X-ray icon here, and it should be changed to an X-ray mode. Now we can see through and select these vertices, and there we go. You can move it easily. This works really similar to the wireframe mode because it's just basically lets you select through objects. And if you go to wireframe here, you can see that it's also automatically turned on X-ray, so it gives you kind of that see-through effect. And you can adjust this by moving it up and down like so. Maybe about here is good. We can also taper this or open this up. I would love to just taper this down a bit, sorry. And then you have a body. You can go into object mode, turn off X-ray, and it's not looking too bad actually, but we want some smoothness to it, and this is where Subdivision Surface comes in. So add a new modifier, search Subdivision Surface. There we go, smooth. Now I don't see any effects changing when you put this after or before the mirror action modifier was used. So you can put it in whatever order you like. I'm going to put it in last. So you can also drop down opening and closing them using this drop down icon. And you can there we go. We can increase the levels viewport here. I'm just going to set to 2 because we won't see like almost 2x3 of the body because it's mainly covered by the cloth. But having this whole body model can also be good because we may do some rigging and animating for the character in the future. And now you can just shade smooth this out. Right click shade smooth. Before we do this, let's just, yeah, you need to first apply this. So you need to first, so we will keep it like that. And you'll go to edit mode, select this, and just move this up, like so. And now we can increase the level viewport or whatever you want, whatever you're satisfied with. So now you have kind of this body shape. And I mean, sorry, you can increase the level of viewport here. There we go. I need to, yeah. So now if I applied in here, it should give me notification applied modifiers. Let me just do that again. apply modifier is not first, results may not be as expected. And it just basically disabled the subdivision surface. It's just giving us back to the old results. So the reason is because sometimes, most of the time too, you need to kind of apply it in order from top to bottom. Now you just need to remember that it's just when you apply modifiers, a list of modifiers, lots of modifiers, you need to, most of the time, applying them from top to bottom, just like that. I will keep it here, and you can adjust any shape you like. Maybe coming over here, and where is it? X-ray mode. Turn on X-ray mode. Just adjusting this. Just adjusting this like so. You can also taper the knees. Control. And like so, like that. There we go. We have had the body. Let's just show you the X-ray. There we go. We have the body for Hornet. And now this is the end of the part 3 on my Blender for Complete the Beginner series. And make sure to wait for the next video. After this video, and thank you for watching. Press the subscribe button, the notification bell, like, share, whatever you appreciate. That helps a lot. And thank you for watching once again, and goodbye. See you again in the next video.